Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here with a bit of a different idea. I want to have a play. We said the new year we were going to do lots of playing and having fun and things. So I have picked up one of these, I guess it's like a scrapbook or, you know, maybe an album. I mean, you could use it however you liked, really. But I managed to pick this up from a charity shop. It's actually got these little pockets kind of pages as well. I'm not sure that I'm going to use those, but what I actually thought I wanted it for was obviously the craft paper pages, which are these. I couldn't tell you what GSM these are because it didn't obviously have anything written on there, but I don't know, there may be 150 or something like that. But I thought what we could do is make some background pages that then we can use in our junk journals. And you know, like we've made the collage masterboard scrapbooks, we've made the cluster buster, what did we call them? The cluster books anyway. We made those, didn't we? And, you know, it's all about keeping things neatly contained in, I personally like the book format. So those two items that we just mentioned, they are, neatly contained in a sort of book format. And I thought this would be a brilliant way to keep all painted background papers and things that then you can use in your projects. I love the fact that this is already craft coloured on the back. So then if you were using them for, say, tags or anything, they're already quite nice to use. But I don't know about you guys, but whenever I play with, say, paints or anything and make a bunch of papers, they're then floating around in my room, and all that happens is they get kind of buried and lost. And I might use one or two, but say I've made 10, the other 8 just get buried and lost. So I thought this would be a brilliant way that then every now and then, again, maybe it would be sort of a good project to pull in when you're missing your crafty mojo or anything like that. You can just come along and literally play in your book, making a bunch of papers. They'll then be there to use when you want to use them. You can just then pull them in, and it's obviously going to be quite pretty to flick through, which is another kind of thing that I just love, is having gorgeous things that we want to look through. So I'm going to put a sheet of paper underneath here so that hopefully I don't get my paint all over all the pages underneath. So like that. Now I've brought along a bunch of acrylic paints. And what I've also brought along is I've brought along a kitchen spatula. Now, this one's seen better days, as you can see. I mean, it's even got little, I was going to say like nibbled bits. They're not, obviously, but, it's just got this kind of bit here. So I've pulled it off of its handle. Sorry, I just had to stop the video there because I was sneezing. I've pulled it off of its handle. Mine was coming off of its handle anyway. But I've been seeing lovely squeegee painted abstract backgrounds made using, the squeegees that you use to like wash your windows, clean your windows. And I thought this would be an alternative. The squeegees obviously would be fantastic, but it's quite a large item. They're quite big, aren't they? Quite cumbersome if you're using a smaller piece of paper. So I don't know what the measurements of this is, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 by, I don't know, maybe 8 by 9 or something like that. These pages are. So that squeegee would be pretty huge and pretty large, to be using. So I'm thinking this maybe will have a similar effect. It is, of course, the silicone rubber type stuff, hopefully similar to what a squeegee would be. So that's, hopefully what's going to be, what we're going to use. So my acrylic paints, again, I did buy a whole bunch of acrylic paints recently, but to be honest, they were quite cheap and cheerful, and I don't think they're going to work brilliantly for this. So I'm not saying I'm not going to use them in this book. I may well do, but maybe not for this particular project, because I think they will get lost, just in amongst the brown background. So I'm going to use kind of, some of my more, better quality acrylic paints. So I've brought along a whole bunch here of different sort of shades and things. So I might start by doing something quite earthy and naturey type themed. So I'm going to take these. Now, what I did notice on 1 or 2 of the videos that I watched was people were using, oops, let me get it, because now Now come along, I've now discovered I've not got it with me. Hold on. People were, or well, one of the videos that I watched, they'd actually put the paint onto like some transparency film and transferred it to the paper from the film. Now, I'm thinking that's quite a good idea, because if I blob the paint around onto here, you know, this paper, all that's actually going to happen is, to be honest, it's going to have sunk into the paper a little bit by the time that I come to use it. So I'm assuming that that's probably the, you know, the thought process behind using the transparency film. Now I'm going to cut this down so it's, you know, similar size to the page. Okay, like that, and okie dokie, and then, oops, and then just cut it down just a little bit off of this side as well. It's just so that it's not so big to be, you know, handling really. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to blob my paints onto here, and then I'm going to turn it over and just plop it, you know, plop it down onto there, which will hopefully then, you know, take the paint onto the paper, and then pretty quickly I can use my, you know, what I'm using as a squeegee to drag it out across the page. Never done this before. It's, you know, wing and a prayer type stuff. I really need to kind of start you know, doing some sort of prototypes and things before I come and do videos. But you know me, I like to just mix it up and just, you know, just go with the flow. So I'm just going to blob my paint on, and can you see straight away, you know, where I'm saying that this would sink in to the paper, wouldn't it? So, you know, because I'm not being, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying I'm going really slowly, but, you know, I'm not going that quickly. So I think this would have a bit of a sunk in effect on the paper. So I think that's probably the bonus of doing it onto the, you know, transparency film. So I'm just going to put on some white. Again, at this point, I'm thinking, to be honest, what would have been nicer than white really was ivory. So yeah, I haven't really got any ivory paint. I must put that on my list of things to buy. So we're just going to pop this in like that. Oops. I mean, yeah, I've obviously blobbed that in a bit of a long pattern. Wasn't really intentional, but hey, just how it went. So like that. Now I'm also going to mix in some gold paint, because I just absolutely love using gold, and hopefully that's going to give, you know, a bit of a different look. So just put that up there. Right, do we need any more? I'm thinking possibly a little bit more white. What do we think? Because these are all very strong colours, aren't they? So yeah, maybe a bit more white. Okay, right. Oh, I feel really nervous. Why on earth I don't actually do any prototypes before I actually come along filming is beyond me. I mean, it's like I will never ever learn. Now I'm going to keep a wipe on hand because I may get messy, because, you know, I generally do. So right, that's a wet wipe, not a dry one. I'm going to pull my sleeves up because I don't want to obviously get it really onto my top, and I am pretty messy when it comes to painting. So I'm going to take my sheet and then just pop it down onto, onto my paper like that. Okay, so my paint's at this point obviously been transferred onto my brown paper. Pull that off, and then we can just take, you know, what I'm using in place of a squeegee and just pull that down. And exactly as I sort of, you know, said has kind of happened, in that we have got some of that paint already sunk into the paper in that, you know, blob type look. So I'm quite pleased that we did do it on the the transparency film, because I think we would have definitely got just paint sunk in. So what I might do is dry this off with my heat tool. So I'm just going to grab that. I need to just plug it in. Hold on a second. I normally leave it plugged in, but for some reason I unplugged it. Oh my goodness, hold on. Right, there we go. So just going to dry that off. Okay. Like that. Now, I have probably gone over this several too many times, and that's why I've now just got just green, basically. The ones, you know, that I've seen, people really only dragged it once. I did it more than once because I didn't think it really, you know, looked that impactful. But in hindsight, I probably should have just, you know, just done it the once. But we'll try again. So let's pop this down here like that. Okay. And peel that off. Okay, right, let's try it again. So I'm going to use the back this time. So, oh, I still didn't do it once, did I? I just can't help myself. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't mind that. It's probably not the best, if I'm truthful, but it's okay. It's okay. I mean, don't forget, you know, we're making these as decorative background papers. So by the time we come to use it, a lot of this will be, you know, covered up anyway. So I don't think it really kind of matters too much. So I'll just dry that off. Obviously, I would recommend keeping your heat tool on hand because smudging that in on the edge so that I can get as bigger area as possible of the paper. Because if we're going to be doing like a whole book of this, you want to obviously be able to turn your pages over, and if it's wet, it's just going to obviously go over there. So I'm thinking this paper's very porous. I might be better off gessoing over it before I put my paint on. So I'm going to, for the next one, get my clear gesso and just gesso over the paper before I actually, you know, smoosh on my colours, because I think maybe that would be better. You know, this one they've probably sunk in a bit too much, you know, so I haven't really got much in the way of sort of, you know, nice effects because it's all just sunk in. So let me just get my clear gesso. Hold on 2 seconds. Luckily it was in reach. Okay, so I've got my clear gesso now, and then what I'm going to do, so oh no, I've already got paint on my dress. Hold on. Right, I thought I'd best go and wash my sleeve because I will be really irritated if I've ruined yet more clothes. So yes, sorry about that. Honestly, I thought I was being so organised. I'd pulled my sleeves up and everything, but no, still I managed to get it on myself. So I am just a very messy person when it comes to, you know, paint or anything. Honestly, the second that it's open, it's everywhere. And, you know, just some people are like that, aren't they? And I am unfortunately just one of those people. So anyway, that's the first sheet. Not, you know, not overly successful, but you know, we're learning, aren't we? So I'm going to turn that over and we're going to do another sheet. So what I'm going to do is this time around, I'm going to gesso it first. Now this is a clear gesso and I'm going to just paint it over with my big brush. Now, unfortunately, again, my daughter's now been in my art room. She's now art room. Don't know where that came from. My craft room. And yeah, she's now been at all my stuff and now my brushes. She's not washed them out. So I'm just going to put this on with a wipe because the brush is very stiff now. So, and otherwise I'm going to be here all day if I keep on stopping the video every 2 seconds. to go and wash this and wash that, wash my sleeve. They won't actually get any work done at all. So yeah, let's just go with it. We'll just use a wipe. So this is a clear gesso. Whoops. I know it looks coloured, but yeah, or you know, white, but it is clear. So it will dry clear. So what I will do is obviously dry it now with my heat tool. And I'm just hoping that then the paint will go on this better, you know, once it's got gesso on. So we shall see. Okay, so we dry this off. And obviously you don't just have to leave your papers painted. You know, once you've kind of painted them, you know, you could add stencils and things like that to them, you know, so you really have got a whole bunch of different, you know, papers to use. Oh, I must have put this on way too thick because look, it's not really gone clear. Haven't used that gesso for a while. I think it's gone a bit thick in the pot. So anyway, again, I'm not going to worry too much. It doesn't really matter. It's not kind of, you know, it's not the end of the world. So let me put that behind me. Right, now because I'm, you know, trying to not waste things, I think I will use that same transparency. Obviously it's, you know, still got a lot of the paint and things on it, so I'm just going to top it up with maybe more white for starters, and then a bit more this nice colour green. That's a really nice colour, isn't it? Okay, like that. Maybe a bit more of the gold because I just love using gold, and maybe a bit more of that what I would call like a sort of pea green, I suppose, because I love that colour too. Oops, that's quite extravagant, isn't it? Right, we'll just put 2 blobs of that on because it's pretty big blobs. Oh, I did not put any brown on. Oh, do you know what? I've just touched my forehead and now I've got a big smear of paint on my forehead, I think, because I can feel it kind of quite wet as I wiped my forehead. So yeah, I'm now going to be going around for the rest of the day with probably a big green smear across my forehead. I mean, oh my goodness. Honestly, when I go to the school, people must just think, what on earth does that woman spend her day doing? Right, okay, fingers crossed. Let's hope for better results this time. So turning my piece of paper over, not piece of paper, transparency, pop it down, smoosh it in like that. Maybe I'm pressing it down a bit hard as well. You know, I'm now kind of thinking, well, possibly I'm pressing it down a bit hard. Just going to take my squeegee and just drag it down. So I maybe have pressed it down too hard because can you see I have still got the spots, you know, affect quite a lot. So, but I might just take this now and just dab it in like that. Oh, the more I'm dragging this, the more that the same thing's happening. And I should really scoop this off and reuse this for something else. So perhaps I'll put that straight back onto the transparency film. We can hopefully, you know, work with that a bit more. So honestly, talk about make a mess here. Not good. I mean, yeah, that's why for me, this is a bit of an ordeal. Playing with paints, it's always a bit of an ordeal. I get super messy. You know, so I tend to kind of like do it in one big hit. I might do, you know, 10 sheets of paper or something because, you know, I don't want to be getting messy all the time. But hopefully this is going to be a bit of a good fix for this. I'm just dabbing in any bits that are really thick. This is going to be a really good solution because we're going to have all these lovely decorative papers now, all contained in this book. So we can then come along and use them without having to actually paint some papers and get all messy. So hopefully it's going to be a really good solution, or a really good creative process. And maybe we'll spend like an hour or something making these background papers, and then we'll have a whole bunch of papers that we can then stencil on and tear out to use without the need for getting really messy. So for me, that would definitely be great. I have to say, I've not used my gel plate for a very long time. Partly because actually since my rim move, I can't actually even find it. So yeah, no idea where that's even gone to. So okay, this paint's pretty thick in places, so hence I'm having to dry it for quite a long time. Okay. And the other thing is, I mean, just because you've painted it doesn't mean you can't repaint it. So, if you made one that you're not happy with, you could always go back with some other colours and do like a second coating. So like we did on that first one, and we just did it a second time, couldn't we? I mean, what you could do is, leave it and then come back like in a week's time or whatever and add a second layer of some totally different colours, something that's going to complement / at least coordinate somehow, but using different colours. So, I mean, for example, you might want to go over this with, say, metallics, or, I don't know, ivory or black. Maybe you would want to add some black or something like that. Okay. I mean, personally for me, I quite like this whole abstract look. I'm not saying this is quite how I expected it to go or had hoped it would go, but I quite like this type of look. What you could do is take, say, like a the end of a paintbrush or something, and draw like swirls and things like that in here. If I'm going to be using these as background pages, I personally would use them more likely to use them like this than I would if they have a bunch of detail in them. So, again, just use them, or, make them how you kind of fancy. Or, maybe you would prefer to have a variety. So maybe you would actually prefer to have some, completely kind of plain like we're doing here, and some with some, some detail in them. So, just experiment around. So I'm going to still use now the green, because obviously I've still got that big blob of green paint. So, at the risk of being just really boring, I'm just going to use it up because I don't want to just waste paint. So, and then we'll do some other colours. So again, I think the gesso was, quite a good thing to go over my page with. It kind of did give me a bit of a base layer. Again, I'm just using a wet wipe here. And obviously I'm being quite extravagant. This has gone on very thick in one or two places. It's not, it's not ideal. My gesso's gone a bit thick and lumpy, if I'm truthful. It could probably do with a good stir. So, okay. So again, just pop that down. Let's get rid of that out of the way. You could gesso some pages. I mean, just anything that you like. But these are just going to be another little thing that you can pull from when you're fancying doing something different. So, I think just another nice thing, you know, like from time to time we might pull in our collage masterboard scrapbook and just create some ephemera using a sheet from the collage masterboard. If you've got a book of painted background pages, you could do similar. You could just pull in your painted background pages from time to time and use them in the same way. So it's just kind of something nice to have, isn't it? Okay. So, yep, nearly done here. Just pull in another sheet. I mean, to be honest, I still seem to be making quite a mess, even having my sheet here trying to protect the underneath pages. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. So, right, I've got that big blob that we put on there. I've got this still here. So I'm just going to put maybe more white and some more gold. So, yep. Okay, right, like that, and a bit more gold. I love using the gold, honestly. Right, now I'm wondering whether I might try and not press this down so hard this time, because maybe then we won't get those big blobs. So maybe just rest it sort of more. Let's see how this one goes. So, and I'm just going to smoosh it down, but lighter. Yeah, I mean, definitely I'm not doing this very well. Like I say, I'm smooshing this too many times is, you know, a lot of the problem. Yeah, probably you should just squeegee it once. You know, maybe it would work better on a different surface. I don't know. But again, you know, I don't mind. I'm going to have, you know, all these lovely background pages that I would be able to then use for future things. So just going to, you know, finish it off a bit, smooshing it with my finger there. Okay. I mean, you're probably looking at this thinking, well, it's hard to see how she's going to make that ever look good. And I kind of agree with you. It's not looking great, to be honest, but you know, the point is when we come to use it, it will be transformed either with stamps or stencils or, you know, perhaps popping toppers on or whatever. You know, it's not going to be visible really as it is now. So I'm not too worried that it looks awful at the moment. Okay. So, time to venture on to another colour, I think. Just quickly dry this off. I mean, I have gone all over the wire and things like that here of this bound book, but again, it won't really matter too much, providing I don't smudge that into the actual other pages. So, just need to be a bit careful. Okay. Okey-dokey. I have to say, actually, when I first put this down, I thought, oh my goodness, this page looks awful. But actually, do you know, I actually really like it now. Yeah, I do really like it. So, it's definitely grown on me. Right. Now, I'm wondering whether I could be super frugal and actually clean this off. Oh, probably make more of a mess than... Oh, I'm just being really stingy because I'm thinking, oh, that's really wasteful to now just, you know, discard all of that and not use it. So let me see if I can just clean this off. Obviously, be better with a wet wipe, but anyway. Oh my goodness, doesn't that look gorgeous? I love how that's gone. Oh, do you know, I'm now thinking maybe we should do some with the tissue. So yeah, forget the squeegee, maybe just do some with the tissue, because my goodness, doesn't that look gorgeous? And I was going to throw that in the bin, but now I'm thinking perhaps we'll keep that and make something with it. I'm not sure whether the paint will stay on there or whether the paint would crack, you know, if this is like folded up or anything. So we'll see how that goes when it's dried. Let me put that to one side, you know, to hopefully dry. And all right, I need to be careful. I'm, you know, touching all sorts of bits on my desk, so covering other bits of paper now with stuff, so it's not really good. Right, let's move this to the bin. Right, okay, we get another sheet of paper in to protect that underneath papers. Right, we're going to go with the green for one more sheet, I think. So oops, just wipe this up. Yeah, we're going to go with the green for just one more sheet and just see whether we can achieve that kind of look. So just pull in my gesso again. I think the gesso is helping, so I'm going to just, you know, stick with the gesso again. You know, partly because, like I say, these craft papers, you know, they're quite porous. They're, you know, they're quite thick. Like I don't know how to describe it, but you know, the weave of the paper, it's making it quite yeah, quite porous. So I think the gesso is just helping it to stay on the surface a bit longer, which is obviously going to make it a little bit easier to smoosh in, which, especially if we're going to be doing that, you know, dragging around effect with the tissue, I think that probably would be helpful. So get that to one side. Right, let me again dry this off. Okay. Right, now I moved this tissue into the bin, but it was just sat on the top. So this was the tissue with all those smooshed bits, and I'm going to see whether we can just dab on a little bit of extra paint onto here and just use this tissue. So let's pop that there. Okey-dokey. Right, let's see if this is going to work. So I'm going to put some white around in a couple of areas. Okay, white, and let's do some of that sort of olivey green colour, because I rather like that. Okay, and then take another bit of the gold, because I do love the gold. Okay, right. I don't know how this is going to go, but again, you know, who cares? If it's rubbish, we just cover it up, you know, we just dry it off and then we can cover it up. So, oh my goodness, loving how this looks. Oh, do you know, maybe for me, this is the, you know, a better technique. So obviously, you know, I'm not saying that I'm not saying the squeegee doesn't work. I'm saying I didn't have the right tools. I was using the this thing, you know, and maybe that just wasn't the right thing to use. I'm just going to try one more dab of colour. Okay. Oh, loving that. Right, it is beginning to merge in a little bit, so that's, yeah, I need to stop now playing with it so much, don't I, before we end up with, you know, just completely one colour, completely flat one colour paper. But let's just dry that one off. So the lesson there is I seem to be preferring the tissue method rather than the squeegee method. So okay, dry this one off. I mean, I'm already seeing so many lovely uses for these. I mean, you know, you could just literally take these out and make them into journal cards and things like that. I mean, they're just lovely, aren't they? And to be honest, I'm even just looking forward to having the book full of gorgeous backgrounds to look through. So and you know, what a fun project, you know, for maybe like a Saturday afternoon or something like that. Just take a book. It doesn't have to be a book like this. I would say you want a book with slightly thicker pages, but if you've got maybe like an old kids book or something like that with thicker pages, then that would work fine. Alternatively, just take a book, you know, of any page thickness and then glue a couple of pages together, and that would be fine. The reason I think you need thicker pages is because, of course, the paint, it's quite heavy on the pages. So, you know, if you're saturating the pages with paint, you need something reasonably durable and robust to be able to hold all that paint. So there we go. Let me just put my glasses on. Okay, I think I've been filming for about half an hour already, so it's flown by, hasn't it? So let's just quickly, right, let's move on to a different colour, because otherwise I'm going to finish this video and we're never going to have actually done any other colours. So yeah, let's do a different colour now. So again, I'm going to gesso over because, you know, like I said, I do think that is actually helping, even though it's probably quite hard to say. I'm just trying to smoosh a bit of paint off something. Right, okay. So go over with the gesso. Oh my goodness, now I've smooshed green on there, whether I want it or not, because obviously it's on that underneath piece of paper. Again, doesn't matter. It's all going to be fine. So okay. Right, there we go. So let's just dry that one. So sorry that there's so much drying going on in this video. Right. Honestly, I am really excited to have this book full up. And then you know what's going to happen, of course, don't you? I'm going to want to hoard it and never use it. So, but the good thing is, you could do the whole book in, like I said, like an afternoon. You'd have probably finished the whole book. So, I mean, if you, like me, you know, just then wanted to hoard your pages, you could quite easily make another one. You know, it wouldn't be too difficult to then just knock up another one quickly. So it would all be fine, even if you were like me trying to hoard your pages. Okay. Okie dokie. Right, there we go. Right, let me get rid of this tissue before I dip anything in there. Right, let me get some clean tissue. Oh my goodness. Right. Okay, I've got some clean tissue now. So I've just got a bunch of tissue like screwed up to the side of my desk. So I thought we'd just pull it in and use that. Now I've got some more transparency film. So again, just take that, and I mean, to be honest, I cut it down last time. It probably wasn't really necessary to, you know, if I'm truthful, but I will just cut it down slightly because it does make it slightly, you know, slightly easier to handle being a smaller piece. Although I still managed to make quite a lot of mess, didn't I? So who am I kidding? Although, you know, we didn't see how much mess I would have made had I not done that. And I suspect it would have been a whole bunch worse. So, right. Okay. So this time let's do some, you know, completely different colours. So I'm going to put some white on first. Now I'm still doing it with the, you know, transparency film, like I say. I don't really know why, but I did feel like it did sink into the paper a lot without the transparency. So I think, you know, the transparency was quite a good, you know, method of getting the paint onto the paper. Oh, sorry, I've just got, oh, I think that paint's too dried up to use. Yeah, okay. Right, so I won't be able to use that one. Right, let's try this one. Now this one, going to say I'm not sure whether I've used it before, but I have, obviously. Right, okay. Now that one. And then I probably am going to use the tissue method, if I'm truthful, for this, because I think actually that was more successful for me. Actually, I'm not going to use the blue right now. I'm going to do a bit of metallic copper, or is this bronze or copper? I'm never sure whether it's bronze or copper, but anyway. Right, let's put this down like that. Okay, perhaps I will do another couple of blobs like that. Okay, so yeah, we've smooshed it quite a bit now. Right, let me take my tissue. Oh, that's just not really done anything much, has it? It's not looking exciting at all. So I think what I'd now like to do actually is perhaps put some more colour in, because it does look quite colourless, doesn't it? And, you know, not very interesting at all. So let's do a bit of, in fact, let me get that little tiny bit of transparency that I kind of put to the side. Right, okay. So I'm just going to put some brown on here and some more of the copper. Okay, and then I'm going to just dip my tissue in and just then dab it around. So just looks a bit more interesting, doesn't it? So yeah, I felt like it got a little bit lost. You know, there was not anything of any interest going on that page before. So yeah, I think that's a bit more interesting. And again, you know, I know perhaps you're thinking, oh well, that looks horrible, but when it's actually used, it will hopefully look quite nice, you know, because it won't be left like this. Okay. I'm thinking for the next one we maybe will do similar but using gold instead of the copper. I think would look lovely. So we'll just dry this one off. And these are going to be, you know, thickened up with the paint, aren't they? So, I mean, you probably would be able to use these, you know, without backing them. Depending on what you wanted to use them for, I guess. Okey-dokey. Okay, and I mean we definitely covered up the green, you know, that I'd smudged on, so that's all fine. Right, let's put that one over. Let's do another layer of gesso. I mean, there's loads of pages in this bit. Well, there was more pages than I'd realised, which is good. So yeah, it's all good. What have I done with my wipes? Right, so yeah, let's take the gesso. I mean, like I say, the gesso is not necessarily an essential part. It's just that this paper is quite porous, so I think it's helping, you know, the paint to be a bit more movable. But well, who knows, maybe it's not. Maybe I should try some without the gesso in a minute, as I'm no longer using that drag drag method. I'll have to have another go at that. Or let me know below. Maybe you've already had a go at that. I'm sure it's just user error. I'm sure it's a brilliant technique and I'm just, you know, failing miserably at it. But yeah, let me know if you've done it and achieved it and, you know, been really chuffed with your results, then let me know. Right, let's try this on again. Oh, I'm so excited for this book to be done and have a look through the pages. So yeah, I'm not going to get it all done today, which is such a shame because I would have loved to have shared with you straight away the finished book, but unfortunately there's just not going to be enough time. So I mean, definitely not on video, and I don't think there'd even be time for me to be able to finish it off in slow time and then, you know, come back and show you. So yeah, that's really a shame. But right, now I'm going to do this the same, maybe a little bit more brown, and then gold instead of the copper. Obviously, you know, it will have bits of copper because it will be picked up from, you know, what's on that transparency anyway. But I'm going to just mix it in with the gold. Whoops. Okay. Oops. There we go. Right, let's pop that down and see what this looks like. Okay. Again, just take my tissue. Just doing a bit of a different motion there. I'm quite liking this, I must say. Oh, love this sheet. Isn't that gorgeous colours? Oh my goodness. I love how this one looks. That is such lovely colours, I must say. Right, let's just pop a bit of that just down in one or two places. Oh, I love how this looks. It's so pretty. Right, let me just again dry this. Yeah, I mean, I can just see lots of different, you know, experiments that you could do with these. And to be honest, I'm actually thinking you could even do something like this, make your base book like this, and then you could use this as an art journal, you know, to use. So I think so many different ideas for this. I'm going to have to make a few of these and then we'll have a play around doing different things. So maybe having one as an art journal, maybe using one as tear out pages to make ephemera. You know, I mean, you could probably even just do like an, you know, an actual junk journal like this. I think you've got loads of different, you know, scope for things that you could do. Or just hoard it and look at it, you know, any of those things. But it's just going to be, you know, handy to have, another handy to have thing. Okay. So the next one, I'm going to add some of the dark blue, I think. Again, just so that we've got lots of different looks. And then I would quite like to do one without the metallic. I have to say, I always seem to add the metallic because I just love, love, love the look of those metallic paints. But I might do one without the metallic, or I might do one without the metallic and then dab metallic onto there afterwards as a different, you know, different look. So Again, just drying it so that when I, you know, fold the page over, it's not going to be causing too much damage. Oops. I mean, the paint's quite thick in places, so obviously it's taking a little while to dry. Let's try one without the gesso and see whether, you know, maybe the gesso is not really as essential as I'm thinking now that we're not doing that drag method. So I'm just going to pull this in again just because, you know, it's really good not to waste all that paint that's on there. So again, just going to take the white. Whoops, oh gosh, a lot of white went on there. And then just take some blue. Isn't this just such a glorious colour? I love it. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, wow. I thought, oh my goodness, now I've got more stuff on my dress. Ah. Right, and just pop a little bit more brown. Okay, what do we think? Don't know whether I need to add any more of the gold at this point, so we just pop that down. Well, we seem to get quite a bit of coverage, didn't we? Okay, right, again, take my tissue. Do some dabbing. Loving that blue. Isn't that such a gorgeous colour? Oops. Done a lot of smearing over there now. So yeah, not great. But never mind. Right. So I might leave that one with not too much gold on it. And then we might do another one and do some more gold. I think, to be perfectly honest, it was moving the paint around better with the gesso, so I think I will have to do that stage for the next one. Oh, how much do you love that gold that just shows through? I love it. Love the gold so much. I mean, I'm just using the tissues and the wipes. Obviously, if you're someone who gets on better with a paintbrush, then of course, you know, use a paintbrush. I mean, I have not very great results when I use a paintbrush, if I'm truthful, but having said that, you maybe are looking at this and thinking, well, you certainly don't have great results when you're using the tissue. You're probably completely right, but I think this looks quite pretty. So it just depends on your style, doesn't it, and the look you're going for. Okay, we're nearly dry. Oh, I love that page. It's got a lot of kind of depth to it, I have to say. Really, 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 really nice. Okay, turn that on over. Let's go to another one. So we will gesso on this one. I wonder if I'll be able to get all of these, at least in the first section, done before, you know, before I'm up to time on my video. I can't see the camera to see what, you know, what time I'm up to, but it must be kind of like getting on a bit now, time-wise. So right, I'll just pop gesso down on this one. Oops. Oh dear, big smudge of blue. Never mind. Oh, more blue. Oh, right. I'm actually thinking another thing would be to build up the colours. So, you know, you could always put down, like, say, an initial layer of blues and then top it with some greens and things like that. So, yeah, definitely I'm being very, very basic here. I did say at the beginning of the year, you know, back to basics and, you know, just fun crafting, doing very quick and easy things, very basic things. You know, but if you wanted to be more adventurous, you could always do it in stages of layering up. The other thing is, of course, I'm trying to just get my book filled up, really, to be able to flick through with you guys and sort of, you know, show you how nice that the book sort of looks once it's full of all the painted pages. So, right, okay. Okay, right. So I've done that one. Right, let's bring this one in again. Now I'm thinking, wonder if I smoosh it on here. So yeah, let's kind of smoosh the paint around a bit. Oh gosh, that does not look very good, does it? Like that. And then thinking maybe add some other colours. So I mean, now I just have a grey mess, but let's put some more white in, like that. Some more brown and then some green, I think. So, okay. And then the green. Okay. Don't know how this is going to work. And to be honest, I'm not sure how much paint will transfer off now I've smooshed it. But again, let's just see. Oh, quite a bit, actually. What if we just drag it around with this a bit? Oh gosh, no. That's not a good look, is it? No, that did not go well. Right, let's get my tissue and... Oh dear, this one's like the worst one yet. Yeah. Not recommending that method, whatever that method was. So let's just smoosh it in, and then what we'll do is we'll perhaps go over with some other colours like we talked about just now. So I just dab it a bit with the tissue now, and then we can add some extra colours on top. Although now I've done that, actually I don't mind it. Although we have now gone straight back to the green, which is very boring. The green's quite overpowering, you know, when you put it down, it sort of takes up everything, takes over everything. So, yeah. Or it may just be that I had a lot of green on that acetate, I'm not sure. Right, dry that off, and then maybe what we could do is get that dried off properly, and then thinking, because that's actually looking quite grey now, which is, you know, a little bit drab, I suppose. Although, to be honest, I don't mind it. Oh, do you know? Oh, let's just leave that one. And then let's just do... Oh, I've got two more, I think. So let's do one more. So again, just need to pop some gesso down. Let's just take that wipe. Get some more gesso. Oh, I'm so messy as well. Like, my hands are very messy now. Right. Okay. Okay. Oh gosh. Come on, try and eat this out and drag it across the page. Right, there we go. And then dry that off quickly. Like that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of like smoosh this down. And then we're going to go over with some other colours. We're going to dry it off and go with some other colours. So, right, I'm getting a little bit, you know, I'm not really kind of like doing this very well at all. I'm probably rushing a little bit to try and, you know, finish off these pages before the end of the video. So definitely, you know, my methods are, yeah, probably getting more and more shoddy as the pages go by. Okay, right. Like that. And then dry that one. Oops, dry that layer. Like that. Okay. I mean, probably lots of you have even got books like this, you know. I mean, I've had lots of different books like this over the time that I've used for various things. So, and I'm sure that I've bought them sometimes, you know, when shops have their end of season sales and things, and they maybe have these. So, you know, I'm sure probably lots of you have got things like, you know, books like this already laying about that perhaps you haven't used in the past. So, you know, you could just use them like that. Right, very messy looking sheet here. So I'm going to, yeah, put this, right, let's just get rid of it off the desk. I've put it in the bin now rather than have it, you know, risking touching things. So I've got this tiny piece of acetate that we just use as, you know, used as the little offcut. Let me clean it. Oh gosh, clean it or make it dirtier, not sure. Anyway, doesn't matter. So I've wiped it clearish, and then I'm just going to take that blue again, like that, and then think a bit of the brown. I'm just wondering whether we could have a bit of the, I mean, this lilac was quite strong, wasn't it? So let's try and just get like little bits like that. And then a, oops, bit of white. I don't think I bought in the best selection of colours, if I'm truthful. Don't think that's really helped the situation. Okay, right. Oh gosh, messy, messy. Right, okay. So then I'm going to take this. Let me get another piece of tissue from my little bundle of rolled up kitchen towel. Hold on. Right, okay. Now let's dab this around like that. Oh my goodness, this one looks awful. Absolutely awful. Yep. I mean, there's no denying it. This one is horrible, horrible, horrible. I mean, to the point that I feel like tearing this one out. I don't like it at all. It's just terrible, isn't it? Right, let me dry this off, and then we'll just try and sort of improve it somehow, because it looks so horrible so far. Hello, gorgeous. So Bo, my lovely doggy, she's just come to join us. I mean, a lot of this is my own fault because I didn't bring the best selection of colours along, if I'm truthful. So, yeah, don't be deterred by my appalling colour selection here. Right, do you know, I'm thinking maybe just do some sort of whitewash thing over the whole lot. So I've just got some white there. And I wonder if I use the wet wipe. So let's just take that. Oh dear, making this worse and worse, aren't I? So oh my goodness, this is not looking good. Okay. Oh my gosh, what a horrible, horrible job I've made of this. What on earth? Right, let's just pop a big dollop of white on there. Let's just smoosh the white around. Maybe the white would just improve things a bit. So, using my wipe here rather than my tissue. So, yeah. Let's just... Oh, that's not good, is it? I've really mucked this one up, to be honest. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, it's not good. Let me try and put some gold in and see whether we can improve it just with touches of gold. I don't know. There might be no bringing this one back from the brink. I mean, gold does improve things, doesn't it? Definitely. So I don't mind that, actually. And, you know, where this is now thinning out, you know, where I keep on going over and over with the gold, it's actually looking okay. I mean, that patch there actually looks, you know, plausibly quite nice. So, you know, again, once this were, you know, stenciled over and things like that, or maybe stamped, or, you know, maybe just things stuck on it, the overall kind of horrible appearance won't be so noticeable. So yeah, I think it will, you know, I think it will kind of get to a point where it's, you know, it's usable anyway. So I don't think we need to actually tear the whole page out and discard it. I think we can, I think we will be able to work with it somehow. So yeah, I mean, actually now it's gone to a page I quite like. So let's dry that one off. Okie dokie. Yeah, I mean, actually now I'd say that's one of my favourites. So goes to show, doesn't it, you know, how much you can turn things around. Oh gosh, now look, where I've been putting that there, not dry, my pages were sticking and sort of got torn bits on them. Oh dear. This is what comes of doing a video and not really allowing yourself time to do things properly. So obviously, if you are doing this, I would definitely take your time a lot more than I'm doing here, because like I say, I mean, you know, for instance here I've just got now smudges of the paint, so let me just go over that and dry that a bit more so as we don't have it happening again. Right, I've got a similar thing here with quite a, oops, there we go. Oh. Never learn about things like this, and never kind of like learn. You actually have to be patient and wait for things. Right, there we go. So yeah, I mean, I should have definitely waited. I would recommend, if you're doing this, definitely wait and give your things proper time to dry. But, you know, obviously, like I say, we're rushing this to do the video. So, right, I'm on to the final page for this first section of the book. So, again, I'm going to just take my gesso and just pop it down. I'm even using the, you know, the wipes that I'd used for the paint. So, I'm being really, really shoddy. Okay. Yeah, again, thinking I should have done a prototype of this. I would have learnt the things like, you know, allow your pages more time to dry in between. Although, I say that, I mean, would I have paid any attention to that? Probably not, if I'm truthful. Do you know, my favourite page now has become this one. I mean, the irony, I just really hated it. And, yeah, it's now my favourite page. So now I'm going to try and replicate it and do another sort of palish, similar type one. So for this one, I'm going to apply the paint direct to the page. And I'm going to do it in a couple of multi-layers like we did on that one. Is the plan. Who knows? I might manage to achieve the look without doing that, or, you know, I might have to achieve the look a different way. We should just, again, you know, play it by ear. No rules and no, you know, no rights or wrongs. Just keep going until you get something that you're kind of happy with. So I'm going to put down this first. Yeah, I think that's probably the key, is just keep going until you've got to a point where you think, yeah, I like, you know, like how that looks. Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Is just coming to a point where you've got something you're happy with. So again, just take that tissue. Okay. Definitely need more white on this one, I think. Okay, so I'm going to dry this one off. So first layer. Okay. Oh look, just putting my whole fingers in there. Honestly, no end to my messy painting technique. Okay, but it hasn't really got the same depth that this has, and this obviously has the depth from all those different layers that we ended up having to add. So completely by accident, you know, ended up producing the most interesting sheet. So okay, we'll just then pop down some more white, and I think a little bit of brown. Okay. Like that, and then just a bit more of a drag sort of smudge effect. Okay, like that. Okay, and then I think we will dry this and then we'll do one more layer, or hopefully just one, unless we end up having to do more than one. Okay. Just sort of, you know, dabbing that around a bit more. So now I'm thinking, let's go back to that first page and do something similar there, because I think we could add a, you know, more interesting kind of technique to there, to be honest, or an interesting look to there. So I can't see my camera, so I can't see how long I've been filming for. Oh my goodness, I think I've been filming for ages. I'm sure it's like over an hour now, so I do apologise. But it's very addictive. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of the bronze down here, like that, and I might do gold as well. So yeah, a little bit of gold as well. And then just take my tissue. Okay. Oh dear, not sure about that one, but anyway, perhaps pop a bit more gold over. The bronze is quite an overpowering colour, if I'm truthful. So yeah, need to kind of like learn, you know, I need to kind of learn to be a bit lighter when using the bronze, because it's actually quite hard to cover it up once it's down. It sort of does dominate the, you know, the whole thing. So let's just pop that down like that. And then what I'm going to do is go over with maybe a little bit more of the white, just in one or two places, I think. So let's just take a bit more white. I wonder if we could even put the white in with the gold and the bronze on the desk. Kind of like smear those in a little bit. It's just toning it down a bit. So, you know, it had become, you know, quite bronzy looking, hadn't it? So yeah, I think that's kind of just toning it back down, which I prefer. So yeah. Okay, let's just pop a bit more of the goldy bronze there. Okay, so yeah, I quite like that one now. And then I'm just going to go back to that first page and we'll just try and go over that. So I am aware that the video is pretty long, so I do apologise. And thank you so much if you've stuck with me till the end. I do really appreciate it. I realise it's probably been maybe a bit boring in places, so I do apologise for that. Love these two, aren't they just gorgeous? Very, very different actually, but very, very pretty. So just quickly dry this off. Okay, let me just stop the video for a moment and then I'll come back when it's finished and dried. Right, definitely, these two have become my favourites. I absolutely love them. And the others strangely look very, very flat and very kind of nothingy in comparison, I feel. So I may have to go over most of them actually and do kind of some extra layers, but definitely I'm thinking this one because I don't like this at all. So let's just see. I'm going to just put that in there and just go over this one. This is going to be the final piece that I do quickly. So like I say, thank you so much for sticking with me if you are still with me, you know. But yeah, I hope that you've got some inspiration from this and you've found it an enjoyable project. And, you know, I hope you have fun if you decide to make something similar. And, you know, we'll pull this out now from time to time, making, you know, various pieces of ephemera, like I say, and, you know, just doing various things with it. So, you know, hopefully we're going to get like hours of fun now using this, you know, this book. So let's just kind of like smoosh this about. Like that, okay. You know, and like I said, I mean, I can see so many different kind of possibilities that you could then use this book or how you could use this book. So yeah, hopefully you've had a really, you know, really good time. And you now also have got something that's, you know, feeling inspirational when you look through it and when you look at it. So okay, just fill in one or two of these little bits here. So So again, I mean, obviously we've covered most of the green up, but I feel way happier with that now. It was just, yeah, I wasn't really enjoying how it was looking. So I will just pop a little tiny bit more green in, because I feel like perhaps we've lost, you know, lost the green a bit too much. So we're just fill in some more green, just a bit like that. You know, so you really could keep going back over and touching things up until you come to a point where, you know, you're quite happy with the finished sheet that you've then got. So, I mean, like that, I think it's quite nice, isn't it? Probably could have done with some more of the bronze colour, but and the white to sort of make it all match, because we've got now a patch in the middle that really doesn't particularly match. But anyway, okay, so I may have to play around with this sheet slightly more. You know, I'm not quite 100% happy with that, but I'm sure that you get the picture. So let's have a flick through and see the sheets that we've done. Definitely my two favourites are these two. So I may have to go back through and rework some of these to take on a similar appearance to the last two. But already you can see, you know, we're building up this lovely book, and, you know, we've got pages and pages. So we could do then, you know, pinky sections and things. These are all blues and greens, obviously. You know, so then we're going to end up with a whole book full of absolutely gorgeous background papers that we can then grab in and use for, you know, collaging, ephemera, you know, decorative edge strips, all sorts of different things, stamping and, you know, stenciling on and things like that. So yeah, I hope that you found it inspirational. I hope it's given you some ideas of how to, you know, to make some decorative papers, and, you know, just a nice way to keep them all together then and store them. And yeah, like I say, we shall come back and play with this book another time. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up. And yeah, thank you so much. Bye.